Chapter 3, Sticky Notes, continuing on with page 67. You need to know what an exponential growth rate looks like. So exponential growth is kind of a multiplication sort of thing. And it has this, we call it a J curve because it kind of looks like a J. So basically, if you have unlimited resources, food, space, water, then you're going to just keep multiplying. So, 2 doves are going to make 6 babies, and all of those 6 babies are going to make 6 babies. So now you have 36 doves, and then all 36 are going to make another 6 babies, and so you end up with this huge population growth. Logistic growth means that populations are limited by factors, and so you have this carrying capacity. So really, most populations cannot be in an exponential forever. They're going to hit limiting factors. They're going to run out of food. Diseases are going to come in. Predators are going to come in. They're going to run out of resources. And so we call this line the carrying capacity. You can see this dotted line. And this is basically the maximum amount of a population an environment can hold. Now, carrying capacities can go up or down too, depending on if you're in a drought or not a drought, or the size of your habitat getting smaller. And so the carrying capacity does shift with different limiting factors. One thing I want you to notice on page 66 is that there's a bunch of math over here. We will come back to this math in chapter 8, and we will do a lot of population math with humans, but it has the same sorts of equations that we use with animals too. But we will learn that in chapter 8. Turn the page to page 68. Know this figure and caption about exponential growth. And over time, exponential growth stops and slows into logistic growth. You need to know what limiting factors are. Some limiting factors are density dependent, which means that as the density gets higher, that means the number of species in an area, then they're going to run out of food, water, shelter. Diseases are going to move in and be spread more easily when you're in close. When there's a lot of you, diseases spread more easily. Think of a school and how the flu spreads through a school because all these kids are packed into little rooms. Or predators move in when there's a lot of food to eat. But some population sizes can be limited with things that have to do with natural disasters, and these are called density independent factors. These are things like fires and floods and tornadoes, etc. Carrying capacities can change. I talked about that. They can change by fire, by drought, by people, by lots of rain. And so they can change. This figure and caption shows some ways that carrying capacity is reached. So these are yeast cells in a petri dish, and they just run out of room and food, and they just basically level off here at their carrying capacity, and they make this beautiful, nice logistic S-curve. Whereas this mite, it kind of goes above and below the carrying capacity, but if you drew a line of best fit, you would see a carrying capacity in here. And then this is a reindeer on St. Paul Island that never hit its carrying capacity because they took away their predators. Their predators, wolves, were hunted, and then they just were like, woohoo, no predators, let's make lots of babies, none of them are eaten. And then they had this huge population boom. But then they all ran out of food and they all starved to death, crash. And so the carrying capacity was kind of messed up because of the killing of their predators. On page 69 also, know the definition of biotic potential. Biotic potential is the number of babies a female can have. So for humans, really the biotic potential is maybe 15 to 20 babies that a woman could have in her lifetime. Now, most women don't do that, but that's actually not very many. Think of a bunny rabbit. A bunny rabbit can have 6 babies 6 times a year. So that's 36 babies in 1 year. That's high biotic potential. Or seeds. So a plant can produce huge amounts of seeds. That's high biotic potential. Know the definition or the difference between a K-selected and an R-selected species. So we are K-selected, which means that we stabilize near carrying capacity, and carrying capacity is abbreviated with a K, which I know seems weird, but it is, capital K. And so lots of parental care for their offspring. The offspring take a long time to mature, and they live a long time. So that's K-selected. R-selected species have very little parental care. They grow up fast and they make lots of babies. And we call them R with a little r because little r is the symbol for growth rate. And so these often just have a very high growth rate, and so that's why they're called R-selected. And then we talk about ecotourism on page 7D. So know several examples of ecotourism. We can see here Hawaii and its coral reefs that have ecotourism. There's some issues with ecotourism, but it's also a good solution for protecting landscapes. And that's all for chapter 3.